Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. We will be beginning shortly. Is everyone able to hear me and see me okay? If so, just drop a comment in the chat. Just let me know. Hey, Mahat. Thank you for joining. Hey, Dan. Hey, Saravana. Good to see some familiar names and faces. Okay, we will go ahead and get started. So, thank you again for joining right in time for our Sustainability Project Officer Bootcamp information session. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I'll give a quick introduction. So my name is Dan. I'm part of the admissions team here at Generation, and my role is essentially to support applicants throughout the application process. So I'll be your main point of contact for this program. If at any point you have any questions about your application or the bootcamp, then feel free to reach out to me. I think you all should have received an email from me by now. So always happy to answer any questions you may have. For today's session, we'll just be going over the who we are as an organization, what you can expect from this bootcamp, and a little bit more about the application process itself, some key dates. So glad to see so many people joining. And with that, I'll go ahead and get us started. So once again, just a quick overview. We'll do an introduction to Generation as an organization, insight into retrofit or sustainability as a career, a little bit into the curriculum itself, and do a bit of a Q&A to answer any questions you guys may have. And then finally, we'll end it off by letting you know what the steps are in the application itself. So who are Generation? Generation was launched in 2015 with the mission to train and place learners into life-changing careers that would otherwise be inaccessible. So we've identified some main barriers that a lot of applicants face, whether it's lack of access to traditional education or lack of funds, whatever it may be. Could be you've been out of career for a while. Whatever it may be, we are here to support you with that. Let me see. I see someone mention captions are not available. Turn on automatic caption, which I've set up next to my laptop. Sorry about that, Florence. We'll try and resolve that over the course of the presentation. But for anyone else who may need captions, there is a solution available to turn on automatic captions. So as an organization, we are present all around the world. So here's some stats regarding the people we've helped. So throughout 336 cities in 17 countries, that's our presence. To date, we've helped 120,000 graduates and supported them into placements with over 3,000 employer partners. And as you can see there, 84% of graduates outperform their peers in productivity and quality outcomes. So as an organization over the last decade, we've been able to build a network of employer partners and through the support of applicants such as yourselves who have gone on to graduate and show these employer partners the benefit of working with Generation graduates. So our aim is that our graduates, once they go into the workplace, are able to perform at a high level, which in turn kind of shows those partners that any future graduates coming from there, they can expect the same thing. And that's our hope for all of you as well. So for Generation UK and Ireland, these are the locations we currently serve. So Greater Manchester, Ireland, West Midlands, London, Yorkshire, and Scotland. These are the primary places we operate, and you'll find a number of boot camps that are available throughout these. So where our Generation graduates have ended up. So these are some of our employer partners across the UK. So as you can see, some very familiar names: Gymshark, PlayStation, Financial Times, Salesforce, Alexander McQueen. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with these partners themselves. This is just a small number of the partners which our graduates have found, have been able to find work in and build a career in. So in short, these are kind of our the offer we give you and the benefits that are available. So free training and qualification. All of the boot camps that we offer are free of cost to you as an applicant. You don't pay for anything. We work with a number of funding partners to ensure that, and that includes any qualifications that come alongside that. So specifically for the Sustainability Project Officer Bootcamp, we at the end, you will be receiving a level 3 certificate in domestic retrofit advice. And of course, you don't pay for the certification either. All of that is folded under the support provided by the funding partners. So online learning with a live instructor. All of our boot camps are delivered live over Microsoft Teams, and you'll get a chance to engage with these instructors one-to-one. That means rather than the format of some boot camps where you just get given a number of recorded videos and you kind of go over them in your own time, you'll actually get a chance to not only engage with the instructor and learn directly from them, but also engage with your like-minded peers who will be alongside the boot camp with you. And it's a great opportunity to not only develop your own skills, as learners, you can support each other in areas where you feel weaker or where you feel stronger, but it also provides a great opportunity to network with like-minded individuals. So one-to-one support, so you'll get access to our support team. We'll be there alongside you on the boot camp to ensure that you have all the support you need to feel like you're in a conducive environment to learn. You'll be able to connect with employers, so we'll actually set you up with different partners in the area, get you into interviews, help you prepare for those interviews. Any facet of the job application process you will have support with, and you'll have laptop and internet access provided if needed as well. So of course, remote, we understand not everyone will have the resources to access this. So if you are someone who requires a laptop, or maybe you don't have a stable internet connection, we can provide those resources free of cost to you as well for the duration of the boot camp. And finally, if you are currently receiving unemployment benefits, universal credit, whatever it may be, you will get to continue to receive those benefits while learning with us. So it does not interfere with that. So Sustainability Project Officer is the bootcamp you've all applied for. It has a start date of August the 18th, and it will run for a full 10 weeks up until, I believe, the 30th of October. So August 18th through to October 30th. And the schedule is Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So it is a full-time boot camp. It is quite intensive in that we want to make sure that throughout those 10 weeks and by the end of the 10 weeks, you feel like you're in a place where you can go straight into a role and be successful. So one of the questions we often get asked is if there's an opportunity to do this bootcamp part-time, or if you can do the learning in your own time. Unfortunately, the way that the bootcamp is set up at this time, we don't have that level of flexibility, and we do require any applicants who are considering taking part to be available for that full duration of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, from the 18th to the 30th, so the full 10 weeks. And for those applicants who maybe have some commitments already, obviously, given the time, some people have holidays booked, whatever it may be. If you feel like you might be missing out on this opportunity, we want to assure you that there will be chances to apply in the future as well, if right now isn't the best time for you. And finally, just to reiterate, there's no cost involved for this. Whether it's the bootcamp itself, the equipment we loan, or the employment support following graduation, all of this is covered by us. You don't pay for any of it, just to give you that reassurance. With this in mind, there are some eligibility requirements that come as part of having all these funding partners. So For England, you need to be aged 19 and over, and for Scotland, 18 and over. You need to be resident in the UK/European Economic Area for 3 years if you are living in England. You can't currently be in education, training, or work. The exceptions to these being if you're on a 0 hours contract or part-time contract up to 16 hours, that's fine as long as it doesn't clash with the bootcamp schedule, as well as if you're on a fixed-term contract that ends before the bootcamp begins, that's also fine. We can work with you to kind of go over that and make sure that's all okay with the eligibility. Most of this would have been picked up if you've already completed your eligibility check. If you're unsure and you haven't done that yet, then best way to find out is just to finish that eligibility check. And if anything was flagged, then we'll reach out to you to let you know. And again, easy requirement at the end, available for the full 10 weeks and ready to start a full-time job following. So now we'll get a little bit more into the specifics around sustainability, project officer, and the green sector as a whole. So why should you get into the green sector? One of the big draws for this for a lot of people is that the work you're doing matters. So every organization on the planet at the moment is trying to work out how to get greener. It's one of those things that's ever present in the news, climate change, how do we address it, the Paris Accords, all these aspects of different countries working, collaborating together to reach this net zero target. And we're seeing increasingly more and more legislation for companies themselves to be in line with this target as well. So this is work that's very much making a difference. And we see the impact in our day-to-day lives, which again is one of the big draws for people who are looking for something, work that has a little bit more impact in their own lives. With all this, that also means that it's a sector that's in demand. So one of the reasons as an organization that we wanted to pursue sustainability project officer as a bootcamp is that we've identified a growing market that will increasingly need more and more advisors to meet the UK's targets. Dan, I can go over that towards the end where we'll have a Q&A session. So if you just keep that question in mind, and when we get the chance, I can go over that. We see a growing demand. 10,000 retrofit advisors by 2025 is a figure that's currently in line to be met. And we can only, based on the trends, assume that this will only increase as it becomes more and more of a focus to get to these net zero targets. And within this, there's also a good progression that we've identified. So generally, we've seen starting salaries in the regions of 20 to 25K, but within 2 years, those go up to 30K and above. And we will be covering that progression in a moment. And then finally, it's an opportunity to keep learning while you're earning. So the technologies are constantly improving and being updated. New processes are being discovered all the time. So it's a job where you'll essentially always have the opportunity to learn and grow. So if you're really looking for something where you can build a career, this is a great opportunity for that. So what is retrofit itself? So some of you may have already seen this from our task, but I'll just play a short video that will kind of go over and explain it in a bit more detail. So let me know if you can all hear that. No sound. Okay, no worries. I can send you all this video afterwards, but I'll give you a bit of a summary essentially. So retrofit as a whole is the process of using new sustainable materials and processes to kind of rework buildings. So not make them from the ground up, but to take existing buildings and improve them with these new processes that have come around over the last decade, the last 20 years, to make those buildings themselves more efficient. So think about an old shell, office buildings that were built in the 60s. They might still have fluorescent lighting, no insulation, things like that. There is the opportunity for us to essentially go into those buildings and rework them so that they are meeting these new standards, whether it's more efficient lighting, insulation to ensure that heat isn't lost as easily, all this stuff that kind of ties together to lower the emissions of the building itself. And this is a major aspect of the kind of work that's going on in the green sector right now. Again, I'll send this video out to you guys after this, so no worries. But we can go forward from here. So again, we've identified it's a growing sector, and this will likely become obvious to others soon. So our aim here is to essentially train you to stand out from the crowd and connect you with employers now, so that you have a head start on accessing the work that is available. So here you can see some of the roles in sustainability that graduates that we've placed have gone into. So this is from our information of roles that are currently available within the sector, and roles that we also see will continue to grow within the next decade or so. So things like retrofit evaluators. So this is where you're actually going into these projects and evaluating how efficient the building you may be working with currently is, and what steps we can take to improve it. Retrofit advisor, which is providing independent advice to homeowners or business owners on how they can improve their own homes, office spaces, warehouses, whatever you can think of. Retrofit installers, the ones who actually work to implement the changes that you've identified. Retrofit designers, who are the ones who kind of go into more detail. Assessors, coordinators, all these jobs are linked to each other, and once you're in the field, you'll be working alongside all these individuals, and there's also the opportunity to progress into these various roles. So that's just a quick overview of some of the work that is currently available. And to talk a little bit more about the progression, so where can this lead? So at the ground level, what we see most graduates getting into is this retrofit advisor. So as I mentioned, these are the people who advise a client on what changes they can make to their buildings based on the specifications that are given. So someone might call you up and say, hey, I'm looking to make a change to my home. It's an older house. I want to know what options are there to make it more efficient. And you would support them by going through the options for them, whether it's, again, improving the insulation, better lighting, implementing smart home technology, all those different facets of that. So if you're committed and meet your targets, there is the opportunity for quick progression. So like we said, not to hammer on about this point, but because of the demand that there is kind of in the sector, that means that those who stand out at the ground level have the opportunity to progress very quickly within that role. And as mentioned before, we've identified that most people in those entry levels are seeing progression into roles that are 25, 30K and above within 2 years of starting at the entry level. And a career path could look like this as you develop subject matter expertise, support colleagues, and begin to manage larger and larger teams. So the more you involve yourself in the various areas of the sector, the more opportunities are available. So from retrofit advisor, you could become a retrofit assessor, so actually having a bit more hands-on on the projects themselves. From there, retrofit coordinator, So as you can see, taking on more and more responsibility within the project management aspect of the roles. Retrofit designer, and then finally all the way up to retrofit evaluator. So this is kind of one of the career progressions that we've identified. And there's various paths you can take along this. That's why we mentioned subject matter expertise, support colleagues, and management pathways. So one of the things we'll focus on in the bootcamp itself is on something we call future orientation. So once you're within the role, being able to identify what opportunities are out there for you to continue growing, learning, and progressing within that field. So now to go on to a little bit about the curriculum itself, so life in the classroom. So a typical day in the classroom looks like this. So at 8:45, you would log in /report absence if we realize that some people may have emergency appointments come up, whatever it may be. But normally you would start by logging in at 8:45. At 9, you would do the daily opening, which is, your instructor would introduce everyone and just go over a little bit of what might go on that day. And then at 9:15, you would get a technical topic presentation from the instructor. So this is the chance for you to kind of know what you're going to be learning that day. So this technical topic presentation will last around an hour and 15 minutes, leading up to your first break at 10:30. So after your break, you would be doing the technical skills application session. So you would be moved on to breakout rooms into smaller groups where you would begin applying the skills that the technical topic was covered in the morning. So this is a chance to actually practice alongside the others on the program and start implementing some of the things that you're learning. And Dave, just to answer your question, it's usually around 25 people that we expect to have per cohort. So you would have the technical skills application session. So applying those skills you're learning, which would lead up to 12:30 when you have your lunch. So you take an hour of lunch, and then afterwards you come back and start working on the behavioral skills and mindsets. So this is where that aspect of future orientation I said is covered alongside other things such as communication. So for a lot of our applicants, this kind of environment is new to them. So we'll teach you to be confident in communicating between different colleagues, into team communication, and so that when you go into the role, you're confident in engaging with whoever it may be. This, again, you'll do this for about an hour, and then you'll get started on the employability session, which is when you get a chance to actually sit down and review your CV, interviewing skills, and job applications with our team. So this is a great opportunity to see how everyone else in the industry is approaching these things, and to kind of improve these skills so that you feel confident again at the end of the boot camp to go straight into looking for roles. This will take you up till 4, where you'll have the daily reflections. So go over what you learned that day, talk about areas where you're confident, areas where maybe you would like a little bit more support, and then at 4:30 you would get your one-to-one support from the instructor. So this is the office hours where you get a chance to sit with the instructor one-to-one and kind of go over a little bit more in detail what areas you think that you might want some support with or more clarification on. And this will lead you up to 5, where the day will end. And this is in general the structure of the day. So as you can see, very condensed. You'll be learning a lot of new skills, applying a lot of new skills, but also we want you to be assured that you will have a good number of support there, so that the things we're learning you will stick with you to the end. And here is a little bit more on the behavioral side of things that I mentioned. So behaviors, communication, customer focus, adaptability, organization. So being able to organize and manage your own time and workload. This becomes increasingly important as you kind of climb the rung and start taking on more and more responsibility. Being adaptable, obviously very important. taking that personal responsibility, that growth mindset and future orientation we spoke of. So knowing what opportunities are out there, whether it's additional certifications, management pathways, and having the persistence to keep growing and learning within that. And then finally, the last pillar, the technical skills. So understanding energy consumption in homes, implementing retrofit measures. So what options are there available for someone seeking to kind of renew buildings and improve efficiency, identifying and diagnosing customer or client issues, and understanding energy characteristics of UK housings. And here is a little bit more detail on the curriculum itself. So you'll cover a full 6 modules and complete a portfolio. So this will be a written coursework for which are core to achieving the level 3 qualification. So as you can see here, this kind of encompasses the main skills needed to be an advisor. So home energy use and why retrofit matters, the basics of the industry, the actual role itself and what you can expect to be demanded of you, the advice in practice, so actually going over some scenarios where you get to implement the things you're learning, supporting consumers, so being able to identify client needs and formulate an appropriate response, and finally professional and administrative good practice as a retrofit advisor or sustainability project officer. The endpoint assessment, bringing all this knowledge together, as we mentioned, is a portfolio of written coursework, which will kind of tie all these things together. And you can see there the technical, the key session types that you'll have in the classroom. So there's technical sessions where you'll learn new technical content, observe instructor demonstrations, and participate in initial scaffolded practice opportunities with instructor guidance. So actually taking on those scenarios for those of you who have already done your interview, some of those role play exercises that we engage in to get you comfortable with the work, and then the skills application sessions where you can actually apply the technical knowledge as well as the behavioral skills and mindsets we previously spoke about. So you see here, whole class sessions, small group tasks and breakout rooms, role plays to replicate in role scenarios, and directed time to consolidate key topics and complete coursework are the pillars of how you will, by the end of the 10 weeks, be in a place where you're ready to go into the role. And again, you'll see here a little bit more detail about those focuses, whether it's behavioral skills, mindsets, or the employment essentials and mentoring. As you can see here, they're highlighted in green. We talk about the placement phase focus. So this will be covered a little bit later on in the presentation. But essentially, the placement phase is once you finish the boot camp, you are then passed over to our placement team, and they will work with you to essentially facilitate every aspect of the job search progress, whether it's connecting you to employers, helping you prepare for interviews, helping you with your CV, whatever you can think of. They're there to support you, and you'll be meeting with them usually on a week-by-week basis. And what we say to applicants at this stage is usually the more committed you are during this time, the better and the faster the results you see are. And again, for anyone who wants to go over this session again in the future, this will be recorded, so you'll have the chance to go over the slides in your own time if you do think there's anything that you kind of want to reaffirm. Here we talk a little bit more about that boot camp and the placement phase split. So the delivery, instructor-led active participation from learners, group sessions on Teams and self-study, Monday to Friday 9 to 5, and laptop, webcam, internet access provided if needed. And then finally, the employability support. This is that 6-month placement phase following graduation, where you'll get regular employability sessions, support with CV, cover letters, mock interviews, connections to hiring employers, and transition support into employment. So once you actually manage to secure a role, we will still continue to support you to make sure that you're comfortable going into that role and are able to kind of showcase the best side of yourself. How wordy is the coursework element of the course? It is typical, describe, explain stuff. Yeah, I can get you, I'll try and get the information specifically, Dave, and for everyone else here. I don't have it right now on me, but I should be able to get that following the session, and I'll email you all to let you know specifically what can be expected of that. So this is the learner/participant profile for the Sustainability Project Officer Bootcamp. So what is an ideal learner profile for you to make the most of this? So if you're someone who has a broad interest in the green industry and technology, you are confident in your verbal and written communication, have basic digital literacy skills, and are actively looking for employment. This is what we've identified as being kind of the ideal applicant for this bootcamp who will get the most out of it. So if you're excited about the opportunity to develop a career in retrofit for whatever reason, whether it's you want to be in that role where you have an impact on changing our climate for the better, even if you're not a green expert currently, or you feel like you don't have the necessary knowledge, as long as you have an interest in pursuing it and can demonstrate that interest, we're more than happy to take your application on. Obviously, need to be comfortable in speaking to new people and interacting in groups fluently in English. A lot of the client communication will be handled by yourself, and that's kind of a great responsibility. So being able to communicate professionally, identify client needs is a key skill in a lot of the roles in the industry, and something that we try to identify early on, which is why we ask everyone to do that task in their application, because that helps us to kind of see if essentially you would be a good fit for the role itself, because we don't want to waste your time by essentially getting someone on for that 10 weeks and 6 weeks in they realize that actually this isn't something that is in their wheelhouse or something that they really would want to do. So we want to ensure that we are confident that this is a good opportunity for you yourself. Basic digital literacy skills. This is basic stuff. So being able to navigate web browsers, Microsoft products, being able to just do simple administrative stuff, and then finally actively looking for employment. So ideally, all our applicants we want to support getting to work following graduation. So as long as you kind of have that drive to pursue the employment following, then that's what we really focus on. Cover one of the big draws for our boot camps is the one-to-one support that we offer. So we have a great support team who specialize in supporting adult learning experiences, motivation and goal setting, developing your employability skills, pastoral care and well-being, and tailored and individualized support. So before, as part of the application process, if you're successful following an interview, you will be invited to complete a one-to-one with one of our support teams. And within this session, we'll discuss essentially what support needs you may have so that we know, should you be successful, how best we can facilitate having a good learning environment for you. So every applicant has different needs, whether it's, we've had parents who may need specific support with, just letting us know that in the morning, like just before the boot camp, they'll be dropping children off, that kind of thing. Learning support needs, whatever it may be. What we want to highlight in this section is that we, as an organization, strive to create an inclusive environment for all our applicants. And that starts with this support team identifying what that inclusivity looks like for you and how we can make sure that we are creating a safe environment within the boot camp for you as a learner. Because essentially, if you don't feel safe in the boot camp, if you don't feel like you have the necessary support, then how can you be expected to make the most of it? So our job is to facilitate that for you so that you can focus on learning and getting the most out of this opportunity. So in the bootcamp phase itself, you'll have dedicated one-to-one sessions with the support team. They'll help you to set personal goals based on your progress throughout the bootcamp and help you stay motivated, start developing your employability readiness, so getting you ready for once you graduate and start actually looking to get into a role. And they'll also help signpost you to any relevant services if required. So if we identify that there's a service that we're aware of that we think will help you be a better learner and a better graduate, then we will be sure to signpost that for you. And then finally, during the placement phase, they'll support with getting ready for interviews, building your confidence, and again, hosting group and one-to-one sessions where you can continue developing some of those key skills we've covered. So again, sometimes the bootcamp might feel overwhelming. As we said, it is 10 weeks, although it's not a short amount of time. It is a condensed time to be learning all these new skills and to be applying them as well. So we want to make sure that when you do feel overwhelmed, you have the support there to help you. So if you get ill, no need to worry. We recognize these things happen, and we will discuss a catch-up plan with your support and your instructor to make sure that you aren't left behind, and we'll also provide you with materials to catch up. With financial support, you can continue to receive any benefits, as we've mentioned, and we can also support you to apply for benefits if needed. And again, if you don't have a laptop or Wi-Fi, we are able to provide those for you free of cost. With that in mind, we've told you a little bit about everything you can expect from us. So this is a little bit of what we expect from the ideal learner. So our expectation is to graduate bootcamp learners who have 90% attendance on bootcamp. So it's important, again, 10 weeks, condensed learning. Even missing a few lessons can set you far behind. And while we will support you to catch up, we can't do that if someone is consistently absent. So before you consider kind of this opportunity, just make sure that you go into it with the full expectation that Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, for the full 10 weeks, there is an expectation that you attend that as much as possible. And that's, not only for the sake of others. So, everyone here is looking to get the same opportunity. If you were to get the opportunity and you end up, not attending half the time, that's potentially taking it away from someone else who may have. But also for your sake, if you're a learner and you're on the boot camp, if you're not there the whole time, then you're not going to get the most out of this, and we won't be able to support you following graduation to the best of our ability. So as it is over Teams and is an online learning environment, we also do ask for cameras to be on so that you fully engage and everyone can feel like, there's no divide. We want everyone to feel comfortable with each other and make sure that everyone is fully engaged. So there is an expectation for cameras to be on in class. Again, commitment to the full 10 weeks. Often we do have applicants who will have a holiday booked and they'll try and make this work around the boot camp. What we found is that flexibility is hard to maintain. We don't want you to essentially sacrifice a holiday to take part in the boot camp if the opportunity is available later on. It's not fair for you who is missing out on our holiday, but also if it's also, again, not fair for other learners who potentially are losing out a spot. So embrace the style of our learning and the challenges of the program. To be completely frank, it can be a challenging environment, and this style of learning is new to a lot of people. This interactive, the role plays you do, the group work, it can be intimidating. But again, we are there to support you to make this as easy as a time as it can be for you. And we will continue to kind of monitor and provide that support throughout. I just saw Hope said there's no sound. Can everyone else still hear me? Who is responsible for the teaching? That is a good question, Dave. So we have some tutors within Generation, but we also contract outwardly when we identify that maybe we don't have the full, maybe we don't have like the expertise needed for this specific thing. But generally, they will be working under us for the sustainability project officer. Yeah, I will be able to cover that down. We'll be having a graduate examination at the end, and can say a few words about this too, please. Yeah, I will cover that in a moment. Let me just get through this last bit about the placement phase, and then we'll have a little Q&A session. So placement phase of your bootcamp is 6 months, as mentioned before. And the key difference here is that this side is driven by you. So unlike the bootcamp side where there's an expectation to attend 10 weeks, be there the whole time. During the placement phase, this is really all driven by you. Ideally, this is why I'm saying the more engaged people are, the more successful they tend to be. You need to, as a graduate, actually make the choice to be there and show up for your one-to-ones and to work with them, give them the necessary feedback, take on their feedback, and make the most of that opportunity there. So as you can see here, there are 2 ways to start your careers following graduation. So one is self-applying. So you identify a role that you're interested in, and you can bring that to us and say, I really like the look of this. I want to go for this. And we'll support you in applying for that, whether it's, cover letters, CVs, preparing for the interviews. And then the second way is the generation source opportunities, where we actually have a employment partner come to us and say, we have 5 roles coming up. Do you have anyone that would be a good fit? And then we come back to you and say, hey, this opportunity's come up. Would you be interested in applying? So again, we do offer support at all stages, so throughout the application, interview, and offer, but graduates are expected to engage with the placement phase in order to be placed into roles. So the placements phase support plan is tailored to individual needs. You'll have one-to-one and group coaching with an employability coach and or a placement manager, a full schedule of activity in the first month of the placement phase, check-ins with your placement manager and self-directed job search activity, a graduate hub and LinkedIn learning hub to support you in your job search. So you'll have additional resources that aren't usually available if you're just looking on your own, and obviously being connected to hiring employers and potential interviews as well. Once you're placed, we'll support you with transitioning into work, as mentioned, and for those who are seeking, we'll continue getting that employability support for a full 6 months following graduation. Our commitment to you during this time is that we will work hard to partner you with employers, secure opportunities for you. We'll match these to you and try and find the best and most relevant roles for you to self-apply for, and we'll signpost you to the best job platforms as well, and show you how to find the most relevant roles. So by the end of throughout this placement phase, you will build. We will help you build a competence and the confidence in self-driven job search and self-applications. We'll help you write your CV and prepare for interviews. We'll encourage you to reflect on interview feedback and build up that resilience that we've mentioned. Support you to continue upskilling and with job readiness preparation. and we will help you prepare for your new job once you have been offered the role. And of course, we want to celebrate your success with you at the end. And from your side, as we mentioned, we want you to continue searching and with our support. We want you to continue having that excellent attendance that you show throughout the bootcamp. So attend all the scheduled sessions and check-ins, stay engaged and responsive to all messages, emails, and phone calls, and just be communicative in general. Obviously, be open to relevant roles within commutable distance, and be ready to put childcare arrangements in place to accommodate for a full-time role. Give advance notice of any interviews that you may get in the meantime. So once you've graduated, if you apply for a role and you get an interview, make sure to let us know so that we can support you. And let us know when you've secured a role so that we can celebrate that together. And again, continue supporting you as you transition into that new role. And finally, just to give you some steps of the bootcamp application. So eligibility documents, this is how we check the eligibility per those funding requirements. I think most of you would have submitted these already, but essentially to show your right to work and age, we ask for a UK passport, a EU passport, and a share code to show your status, birth certificate and national insurance number if you're born in the UK. And if you're not born in the UK and you're on a visa, then we also request the e-visa, which is again that share code. And for proof of employment status and address, universal credit PDF, proof from DWP, bank statement, or your part-time fixed term contract. And here are some key dates. So if you haven't already completed the eligibility benchmark quiz and document upload, we ask that you complete that as soon as possible. The interviews will be running for another week. So if you could complete it over the next week, that's kind of the soft deadline we have at the moment. Once you've completed the task, we'll review it and get back to you with an invite to group task and interview. And then if you're successful with the interview, you'll be invited to a one-to-one with someone from our support team, as we mentioned before. This will take place over Microsoft Teams. And the last of these will be taking place on the 28th of July. The 28th of July is when we'll be having our selection, and we intend to send out offers on the 1st of August. So by the 1st of August, you should all have received some form of communication to let you know the outcome of your application. Here's just a quick recap of some of the stuff we have covered over the course of this session. As I mentioned before, this will all be recorded, so if you do want to go back in your own time, feel free to. And that brings us to the end. So I see some questions in the chat already. So Dan, you've asked me if I can say some words about the diploma and will we be able to obtain and how widely recognized is this in the industry? Yep, so the diploma that is awarded at the end of the bootcamp is a level 3 certificate in domestic retrofit advice. So we have identified this as being the most relevant certification in terms of entry-level work. So you would have seen that word retrofit advice come up a lot during this presentation. Retrofit advisor in general is one of the most prominent entry-level roles we are seeing emerge. And retrofit advisor as a certificate is kind of been tailor-made to focus on the points that are most relevant to this role. So to give you an idea of some of the stuff that it encompasses, so talking about climate change and sustainability, understanding the impact of retrofit on the environment, the PAS 2035 process, so familiarization with the industry standard for retrofit, down to the very technical stuff. So heat and moisture interaction, how heat and moisture affect building elements like walls, roofs, and floors. Learning about different technologies and measures available for improving energy efficiency in homes, understanding safety protocols related to retrofit projects, and being able to communicate all of this with the shareholders or clients that you will be engaging with. And in terms of the graduate examination at the end, that is the written assessment coursework portfolio that you will be given. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't have the specific information on that at this time, but I will try and get that information and email over everyone who's attended the session, just so you have that as well. Mr. Onaban, you asked, is the bootcamp for those already in project management or newbies in project management? So this bootcamp is specifically for those with little to no experience in project management. So as mentioned at the start, our focus is on supporting applicants who face barriers to employment or building careers. What we don't want this to be seen as is an upskilling opportunity if you already work in the industry, because ultimately, if you already work in the industry, you will likely not get much from this bootcamp. This is aimed at the entry level, building up that foundation to get into the entry level roles. If you're already having project management work, then this wouldn't be suitable for that. And Davina, you asked, are we still interviewing candidates? Yep, we are still interviewing candidates. We will be continuing to interview for the next 2 weeks or so. Anyone who has completed their task, we will be reaching out to them. This is a necessary step to complete before we can actually proceed to the interview. So if you haven't completed the task, we ask that you just go ahead and do that. And once you have, we will review that and be in touch to let you know what the next step is. I think you believe you've already completed the interview itself, Davina, so I think you are fine. Yeah, Florence, that's right. The retrofit assessor certification falls under the PAS 2035, which is kind of like the leading framework for the retrofit roles we are currently seeing. For those who are interested in the certification itself, I will also try and get more information about that after this session and email you as much as I can. It's always great to see everyone so interested and asking so many good questions. So I'll do my best to get that for you. No worries. I'm going to be here until 4. So if anyone has any questions in the meantime, feel free to ask. As mentioned, this will be recorded. I'll send out a link to you all following later today or tomorrow morning as well, so you have access to this as well. And again, thank you all for coming. Great to see some familiar faces as well. Gary, that is a good question. We do also have a solar panel installer bootcamp. That may be what you're thinking of. So that is a separate bootcamp that, as you correctly mentioned, is about the installation of solar panels and renewable sources. That is a more hands-on role and has some on-site teaching, and you can find that. Let me get a link for you so that you can have that available. So Gary, I've gone ahead and placed a link in the chat there for you for the Solar Installer Bootcamp. Dave, I can run you through a list of the other boot camps Generation are involved with. Let me see if I can find. So the boot camps we are currently involved with are a range of tech boot camps, so data engineering, data analytics, IT support, Microsoft Azure cloud engineering, AWS, and then we have these green boot camps, so solar installer and sustainability project officer. We also do a healthcare boot camp as well. These are the main ones that run throughout the year and throughout the various regions. So at any given time, you can find on our website, and I'll link that as well, the boot camps that are available. And Florence, to answer your question, all the installations yet on the bootcamp for Sustainability Project Officer are done virtually through Teams. It's very comprehensive, and in general for retrofit advisors, you'll be doing mostly remotely anyway. Those on the entry level, there isn't much of actually going to the buildings. But there's always the opportunity, if that's kind of what you're interested in, to go down that route once you're in that role. Okay. Thanks all again for the really great questions. And appreciate you coming, Olga, Red Wolf. Really good to see you both. Really good to see you as well again, Florence. Like I said, you all have my email, so feel free to reach out if you have any questions that come up later. Always happy to have a chat. And I'll also be, for those whose applications are ongoing, I will continue trying to send out updates to keep you in the loop. But for now, just keep that main deadline or time frame of 1st of August for when the offers will go out. If you've already completed your support one-to-one, this is when you can expect to hear from us again. Okay, one last thank you to everyone who came. Really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your days. Have a good one, guys. Bye.